እሺ በጣም እናመሰግናለን። አንድ ጽሁፍ ላይ ስንመለከት በመኪና በተሽከርካሪ የማይጠቀም የህብረተሰብ ክፍል የለም። በተለይ ከተሞች ላይ ገጠርም ላይ የሚጠቀሙ አሉ። ጭነቶች ለማመላለስ ዋቴቨር ለተለያዩ ጉዳዮች። ለእናቱ መድኃኒት ሊገዛ የወጣ ወጣት ሊሆን ይችላል። መድኃኒቱ ታዟል፣ መድኃኒቱን ያውቃል። አሰራሩን ባያውቀውም እንዲህ አይነት መድኃኒት ተብሎ ይነገረዋል። ሙሽሮች ይወጣሉ፣ የሙሽራ ልብስ ወይም የተለያዩ ነገሮች ለመግዛት ይወጣሉ። የሚገዙትን ነገር ያውቁታል። ተማሪዎች ወደ ትምህርት ቤት ይሄዳሉ። የተለያየ የህብረተሰብ ክፍል የሚሄድበትን ቦታ ብቻ አስዩም አድርጎ ነው የሚሄደው። ወደዚህ ቦታ ሄዳለሁ ብሎ ሲሄድ ግን የሚሳፈርበት አሽከርካሪ ምን አይነት አሽከርካሪ እንደሆነ ለመጠየቅ እድል የለው። ከፈጣሪ ቀጥሎ ህይወቱን በዛ አሽከርካሪ እጅ ላይ ነው የጣላት። ሲገባ ሾፌሩን አደጋ ደርሰህ ታውቅ ይሆን ከዚህ በፊት? እስቲ መንጃ ፈቃድ እንየው፣ የነበረ የፖሊስ ሬከርድ እንዴት ነው ብሎ ጠይቆ አይደለም የሚገባው። ከገባ በኋላ የሚሆነውን ነገር ነው የምንታዘበው። እና መኪና ማሽከርከር የዛን ያህል በጣም ትልቅ ኃላፊነት የሚጠይቅ የብዙ ሙሽሮች የብዙ ለእናቶቻቸው መድኃኒት ሊገዙ የሚሄዱ ወጣቶች ኢቨን የሐኪሞቹም ጭምር ምናልባት አሽከርካሪ ቢጎዳ እዛው ጋር የጫነው ሐኪም ሊሆን ይችላል ዋናው ስፔሻሊስት። እነዚህን ሁሉ ጭኖ ነው ሊሄድ የሚችለው። ስለዚህ ማሽከርከር ትልቅ ዋጋ ያለው ነገር ነው። እኛ ጋር አጋጣሚ ሆኖ እኔ በመስሪያ ቤት አንድ ሁለት መኪናዎች እነዳለሁ። አንደኛው ተለቅ ያለ መኪና ነው። አንደኛዋ ታክሲ የምትመስለዋለች ያሪስ የምትባለው ትንሽ። እሷን ሲይዝ እግረኛው ራሱ እንዴት እንደሚንቃት ያኛውን ገና ሲይዘው ገና ከርቀት ጥግ ይዛሉ ምናምን እንዳለመግጨትም ይፈራሉ። አሁን በቆርቆሮ ነው እንደምንለካው ውስጡ ባለው ዶክተር ብሩክ እኮ ቁጭ ብሎ ሊሆን ይችላል። እዛች መኪና ውስጥ ባጃጅ ላይ እኮ ቁጭ ብሎ ሊሆን ይችላል። ውስጡ ሰው አለ ነው እንጂ መኪናዋ ትንሽ ናት ትልቅ ናት አይደለም። ሳይኖትራክ ሃይገሩን እንዲህ ብሎት ያልፈዋል። ሃይገሩ ሚኒባስን ዞርበል ይላል። ቪኤት ከመጣ ደግሞ ሁሉም ይፈሩታል። ከዛ እያለ ይቀጥልና ቶዮታ ትንሿ ስትመጣ እሷ ደግሞ ባጃጁን፣ ባጃጁ ብስክሌቱን፣ ብስክሌቱ እግረኛውን በሙሉ ሰው ነው። ወንድማችን እንደተናገረው ሰው ነው የምንፈልገው እዛ ውስጥ። እንደውም አንዳንድ ከዛ ጨመር ያደረገ ሰው ከብትም እኮ ጭኖ ሊሄድ ይችላል። ከብቶችም እኮ በስነ ስርዓቱ ተባርኮ ወይም ምናምን ካልሆነ በስተቀር መኪና ገጭቷቸው እንዲሞቱ እኮ አንፈልግም አይደል? ዝም ብሎ ሄዶ በግ ልግጭ የሚል ሰው አለ እንደ የሆነ ጤነኛ ነገር አይመስልም። ከአቤት ሆስፒታል አቶ ተስፋዬ እጅጉን እጋብዛለሁኝ። ክብራትና ክብራት
እንደምን ዋላችሁ። እንኳን ለዚህ ቀን አደረሰ። ሁላችንም ኦርጋናይዘሮቹ ብዙ የለፉበት ፕሮግራም ነው እና በዚህ ላይ ደግሞ የሮድ ትራፊክ አክሲደንት ምን ያህል ሲሪየስ ፐብሊክ ሄልዝ ኮንሰርን እንደሆነ ሁላችንም እንገነዘባለን ብዬ አስባለሁ። እና ሁለት ሬኮግናይዝ ማድረጋቸው ሰዎች አሉ። አምባሳደር ዲና ሙፍቲን ሬኮግናይዝ አደርጋለሁ። ዶክተር ብሩክ ላሚሶን ሬኮግናይዝ አደርጋለሁ። እና እንኳን ደህና መጣችሁ እንደገና። ስሜ ተስፋዬ እጅጉ ይባላል። ስለ ሮድ ትራፊክ አክሲደንት ጥናቶችን ሪቪው አድርጌ ነው የመጣሁት። ሪሰርች ሪቪው ነው ይሄ አሁን የማቀርብላችሁ። አጭር ነው፣ ብዙ ሰዓት አልወስድም። ነገር ግን ሪሰርች ሪቪው እንደመሆኑ መጠን የተለያዩ ሰዎች ያጠኑት ሪሰንትሊ በቅርብ አምናና ዘንድሮ 2023-22 ደብሊውኤችኦ ያጠናው እና ያወጣውን ጥናቶች ነው ሪቪው የምናደርገው ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ የተለያዩ አንዳንድ የተለያየ አንዳንድ የተለያየ የሚመስል ነገር ቢኖርም ብዙ ልዩነት የለው። የአጠናን ሂደታቸው የአጥኚዎቹ ትንሽ ስለሚለያይ ነው። ለምሳሌ ደብሊውኤችኦ የሚያጠናበት የራሱ መንገድ አለው። ፐብሊክ ሄልዝ ዲፓርትመንት የሚያጠናበት የራሱ መንገድ አለው፣ የራሱ ክራይቴሪያ አለው። ማይነር የአጠናን ስልት ልዩነት ኢትስ አንደርስቱድ። አይ አክኖሌጅ የኦዲት መርሻ ወልደሃና I also acknowledge Tafari Abaraz, Samsung Government, and I acknowledge Almaya and others, and I also acknowledge EPHI, Ethiopian Public Health Institute. Okay. So the content in the first few slides, I will discuss the global scenario. Globally, road traffic accident is a concern, but what's the death rate like globally? What's the economic impact like globally? And what's the sex victimization difference, males, females, is like? So the first few slides will be on the global scenario for traffic accidents. Next to it, we'll come down to Ethiopia. We'll narrow our discussion down to our problem. Okay? Yeah. And finally, we have treatment outcome issues. The treatment outcome. And then we'll suggest steps to be taken to reduce road traffic accident. Okay? So globally, road traffic injuries are the leading cause of deaths for children and young adults aged 5 to 29. This is WHO's publication, okay, 2022. Approximately 1.3 million people die each year as a result of road traffic crashes, and Africa takes the leading figure, the highest annual rate. It's odd. Yeah. We have few number of cars, but one of the highest road traffic accident records in the world. 20 to 50 million more suffer non-fatal injuries. Okay? Previously, fatality was very serious, very high, but besides fatality, non-fatal injuries, 20 to 50 million people suffer non-fatal injuries globally. And some of them experience disability. Permanent disability it could be. The road traffic death rate is highest in the African region and lowest in the European region, and has an eccentric data. The European region has got many millions of cars roaming around, but African regions, when we have got few number of cars compared to the European regions, we have the highest road traffic accident record, and death rate also. More than half of road traffic deaths are among vulnerable road users. So vulnerable road users are cyclists, motorcyclists, and pedestrians. These are the most common groups that suffer from road traffic crashes. Another eccentric data, 93% of the world's fatalities on the road occur in low and middle income countries. Even though these countries have approximately 60% of the world's vehicles. Low and middle income countries, they've got 60% of the world's vehicles, but 90% of the fatalities are recorded in low and middle income countries. Even within high income countries, people from lower socioeconomic backgrounds are more likely to be involved in road traffic crashes. Now, the overall economic impact is also amazing. Road traffic injuries cause considerable economic losses to individuals, to their families, and to the nation as a whole. See? Now, here we see the 3 tiers of losses that comes following a road traffic crash. Individuals lose whatever they have, they lose their productivity, their families suffer with the individuals, and the nation as a whole suffers. So multiple layers of sufferings and losses are there. These losses arise from cost of treatment, as well as lost productivity for those killed or disabled. You see? And for family members who need to take time off to care for the injured. Still, multiple layers of losses. See? Yeah. We lose productivity, we have cost of treatment or medical cost, and we also need one of our family members, one of our close, families and friends, take time off their job to take care of us. Road traffic crashes cost most countries 3% of their GDP. It's amazing. 3% of the GDP. Yes. Now, let me remind you this. Most countries in the world allocate 2% of their GDPs for military armament or military budget. The military budget is a very sensitive budget, isn't that? But it takes no more than 2% of the GDP. Now, road traffic crashes is consuming 3% of the GDP, much more than the military budget that we allocate usually, that countries allocate usually for their safety. Do you see the comparison? Yeah, that's another comparison. Yeah. So in low and middle income countries, pedestrians may account up to 75% of the total accident fatalities. Pedestrians. 2/3 of the victims are males, as it was mentioned previously by speakers. 2/3 of the victims are males, and they have nearly twofold increased odds of traffic accidents than females. Men, take care of your lives. From a young age, males are more likely to be involved in road traffic crashes than females. About 3/4 or 73% of all road traffic deaths occur among young males under the age of 25 years. Young males are almost 3 times as likely to be killed in road traffic crashes as young females. Now, let's take the discussion down to Ethiopia. So far, it was the global scenario. Now, let's get down to business. Ethiopia. The rate of all forms of injuries and accidents in Ethiopia, including road traffic crashes, was 716 per 100,000 population. 716 people per 100 population. This is not specific to road traffic accident. It's an all kind of injury and accident. Next to accidental falls, road traffic accident was the second most common form of accident and injury, accounting for 22.8% of all incidents. So, fall down accident is most prevalent, but next to fall down accident comes road traffic accident. The second most common form of accident and injury is road traffic accident in our country. The other frequent forms of accidents and injuries are fall downs, that's 3.2%, violence or assault, 14%, burns, 9.2%, animal bite or animal kick, 3.9%, poisoning, 2%, drowning, 1.5%. A study conducted based on the Ethiopian Demographic and Health Survey indicated that like many African countries, Ethiopia is facing enormous road safety crisis. We're not unique. We're not any different from other African countries with regards to road traffic accident. We're the same, the worst. Like many African countries, we are facing enormous road safety crisis. Each year, thousands of road users are killed, and the majority of them are economically active population. This was also mentioned. Road traffic accident attacks, abuses the most productive population group. Just a sample accident. Now, who suffers the most in Ethiopia? Who suffers the most from road traffic crashes? We found that economically active population group in the age range of 15 to 64 contributed to nearly 85% of the total burden of traffic accidents. Especially young adults, 15 to 29 years, take the highest toll. They constituted 47% of all accidents. Further, 15.3% of the casualties were either children younger than 15 years or senior older citizens older than 64 years. this finding is suggestive of the high loss of productivity associated with road accidents in Ethiopia. It's clear. High loss of productivity always follows highest traffic accident records because it attacks the most productive population group. Most of the studies conducted so far consistently indicated pedestrians as the main victims of road traffic accidents. Pedestrians. To your surprise, pedestrians contribute only 4% to the accident. But 80% of the victims are pedestrians. Further, 36% of the victims were vulnerable road users. Yes, this indicated. Among 123 individuals who sustained road traffic accidents in the reference period, 21.9% were drivers and 35% were passenger vehicle occupants. Now, let's see the social impact of road traffic crashes. Among 95 road traffic accident survivors, the duration that the victim was excluded from normal activities following the injury was assessed. And nearly half of the casualties were prevented from their usual duties for more than a month. So, victims suffer multiple losses, like I said. One of the losses they suffer is a social loss. Their socialization, social contacts, their social activities, and their normal functionality get lost. So nearly half of the casualties were prevented from their usual duties for more than a month after the accident. So the incidence or the prevalence rate is like this. Abagaz and Gabamadan established the following. 123 road accidents occurred in a population of 75,271 in 12 months' time. And this fixes the rate of occurrence at 163 per 100,000. So the incident rate, the prevalence rate is 163 per 100,000. Of the 123 casualties, 28 were fatal injuries, setting the road traffic fatality rate at 7 per 100,000 population. So fatality rate is 7 per 100,000 population. But previously, we said the incidence rate was 163 per 100,000 population. Urban residents have 2.5 times increased chances of accident than rural residents. Males were nearly 2 times more likely to sustain road accidents than females, and the occurrence of road traffic accidents was more frequent among individuals from better-off households. What do you think is the reason? The occurrence was more frequent among individuals from better-off households in the Ethiopian context. Why? Maybe they have better access to the car, to the vehicles, better access to the cars than others. So fatal incidents. Despite the high rates of road traffic collisions, very little is known about the factors that contributed to fatal road traffic accidents in the country. Alamayo and others 2023 studied epidemiological characteristics of deaths due to road traffic accidents. Using data registered by traffic police in Addis Ababa between 2018 and 2020, the following was indicated. There were 8,458 recorded incidents in Addis Ababa between 2018 and 2020. Among these injuries, 15% caused death, but 84% caused injury. The majority of the drivers involved in the injury were male drivers. 86.4% of them were male drivers. Fatalities are more frequent among male adults, 31 to 50 years of age. The mean age of the drivers was 33 plus or minus 10, and males accounted for 77.1% of the dead. And the mean age of the victims was 33. The majority of drivers were below grade 12. 63% of them were below grade 12. we'll see the level of education of the drivers has some association with the accident and the incidents. Almost 80% of the fatality have occurred on pedestrians, followed by passengers in the vehicle. 11.85% passengers follow the pedestrians. Now, as you see in the pie chart here, pedestrians, 80% suffers, pedestrians, 80% suffer deaths. But the passengers of the vehicles, only 12%. And drivers, 5%. More than 73.5% of fatal injuries occurred on weekdays. Now I'm going to compare the weekends and the weekdays. The weekdays are the time when many more accidents are recorded. Most of the fatalities occurred on Friday, and the least of it happened on Thursday. There you go. This is a fatality pattern in days. Now, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Friday goes up, 131. Right? Let's forget Saturday and Sunday for the time being. So Friday, the highest fatality, the highest days due to road traffic accident is recorded. And as you go down, Thursday, 154, relatively lower, right? So we have Fridays, I don't know why, but Fridays, the highest road traffic fatalities recorded every Friday. Now, which vehicles, which types of cars are significantly affecting the figures here? We have to see them. The vehicles for public transport caused the majority of the injury. But truck vehicles caused the majority of fatality. It sounds odd, but that's what the studies show. Public transport vehicles for public transport caused the majority of the injury, but the majority of the fatality was caused by trucks. You know Sino truck? Somebody, yes, I heard it mentioned. Sino truck. I didn't know nickname. What's the nickname of Sino truck? Eshibet. Good, thank you. Any other? Al-Qaeda. Good. Leila? Yes. It is a truck. But I'm asking its nickname. Sino truck. Sino truck ነው የሚባለው። እና ብዙዎቹ ሞቶች የሚከሰቱት ቪክሎች ማለት ትራክስ ኮመርሻል ትራክ ቪክልስ በሚያመጡት አደጋ ነው። ፐብሊክ ትራንስፖርት ቪክልስ ብዙ ጊዜ በኢንጁሪ ላይ ብዙ ጊዜ አደጋዎቹ ከኢንጁሪ ጋር ተያያዙ። So 68.16% of the injury and 80% of the fatality occurred on a straight road during dry weather. Look at this. 88.44% of the injury and 86% of the fatality occurred during dry weather. So we can't blame the weather. We don't have a bad weather for this much accidents in the country. You can't put the blame on weather, on the road. Straight road, dry weather. So we need to hear that. So what is causing this much accidents? Faulty driving. Drivers' educational status and vehicle types were statistically associated with traffic accident deaths, like I said earlier on. Drivers whose level of education was below grade 12 caused higher mortality, higher by 32.6% than the drivers who had educational status above grade 12. This is not my statement, it's research, okay? The fatality caused by commercial trucks was 1.682 times higher than the fatality caused by automobile vehicles. The fatal accidents during weekdays were 1.243 times higher than the fatality during the weekends. So why are we having too many accidents during the weekdays and lesser of it during the weekends? Why? I don't know. further study. Needs further study. Now, let's come down to treatment outcomes. We're health professionals. So, especially my hospital is an emergency hospital. It's a trauma center. Many of the victims, many of the accidents, wherever they happen, be it here, be it out of others, they come straight to our hospital. So we have treatment concerns. What is the treatment outcome like? Yuri Marsha Waldhana 2018 studied treatment outcomes of road traffic crashes at the emergency department in Addis Ababa. Among 542 victims admitted to the emergency department, the body region injured frequently was the lower extremity. Lower extremity is this part of the body. Okay? This part of the body suffers the most. 39%. In 39% of the cases, lower extremity was the site of injury. And in 26.5%, the head is the site of the injury. So ሁለቱን መጀመሪያ lower extremity በአብዛኛው አደጋው የሚያገኘው lower extremities. Then next to it, ፊገሩ የሚያሳየው head injury, traumatic brain injury. Yeah. So these are the common signs. Out of 542 victims, about 40.4% were discharged with medical advice. 40%, okay? And 5% died during the course of the treatment. The remaining 47% transferred to other departments. 6.6% referred to other health facilities. 0.74% were defaulters. From among 256 victims transferred to other departments, surgical department takes 26.9%. Surgical department. The orthopedic department takes 17.2%. And the intensive care unit takes 3.16% admitted. Okay? Victims in Addis Ababa are 3 times more likely to die than victims from outside Addis Ababa. Another eccentric figure. Why? Why are we having these odds in Addis Ababa? We have better access to the healthcare in Addis Ababa. How come, how come those coming from out of others show a better figure? It is the severity of the trauma, that outweighs the admission time. So it's not about the time only. What kind of trauma was sustained? Was the sustained trauma severe enough to kill the victim? So the severity of the trauma that's happening in Addis Ababa is more serious, more killing and potent. That's what we should take. So victims who had comorbid conditions. Comorbidity ማለት ሌሎች ተዛማጅ ህመሞች አብረው ያሉት. Victims who had comorbid conditions were 6.3 times more likely to die than victims who had no comorbid conditions. ሌላ ተዛማጅ ህመም ከሌለው ሰው የበለጠ ተዛማጅ ህመሞች comorbid conditions ያሏቸው 6.3 times ይሞታሉ. Okay? A comorbid condition by itself suppresses the immunity and hinders recovery. So it might lead to death. Victims who had not received first aid were 5 times more likely to die. See? Somebody mentioned it. I think it was Mr. Miller. How is our pre-hospital care functioning? Are we organized? Are we organized? Do we have a pre-hospital care and support? That can match the accident. We don't. So you see, victims who first aid receiver level 5 times more likely to die. 48.9, almost 49% of the victims visited the emergency room within 24 hours after the incidents. 7.5% of cases visited the emergency department 1 week after the incidents. Can you imagine this? 1 week after the accident. 7.5% of them comes 1 week after the accident. These victims were 12.9 times more likely to die than those who came early. No question about it, right? Death rate is significantly low among those who reached early at the emergency. It's obvious. But delayed presentation contributes to death. Victims with severe pain were 5.7 times more to die, and victims with immediate intervention need are 6.3 times more likely to die. So this is the last slide. I'm going to suggest what should be done to reduce, how we, the public, and the government, whoever is involved in the road traffic accident, what should we do to reduce road traffic accident? This was suggestions given by the Ethiopian Public Health Institute, 2022. To reduce road traffic accidents, we have to engage in legislation and enforcement. That's one of the points. We have to engage in legislation. What do we mean by legislation and enforcement? We need more detailed and stricter legislation and more detailed enforcement, stricter enforcement. Is our law enforcement stricter now? I doubt. I don't think it is. So we have to have detailed legislation and stricter legislation and law enforcement. The second recommendation made was public awareness and education. I think Kidy Foundation is also interested in this part of the project. We have to teach the common public every day and every night about the risks they're facing, about road traffic accidents, about whatever follows road traffic accidents. So we have to be very careful at public awareness and education. Kidy has got a good background on this, I hope. Speed control. Some measures are already taken. Speed control. Mandatory motorcycle helmet. It's also very important. Graduated driver licensing. I heard this mentioned earlier on by the Shimalis. Yes. Graduated driver licensing. ከአንድ መኪና ዝም ብሎ ወደ ሌላ መኪና ጃምፕ አድርጎ መዳፈር is very dangerous. እና ፐብሊክ ሄልዝ ኢንስቲትዩት ሰጀስት የሚያደርገው ምንድን ነው? አንድ ሰው ድራይቪንግ ላይሰንስ ለመያዝ ግራጁዌትድ የሆነ ስቴፕ ባይ ስቴፕ የሚካሄዱ ፕሮሰስስ ትምህርቶች ምናምን መኖር አለበት። that's what is graduated driver licensing. አሁን ሄደ የተወሰነ ተማረ ይሰጠዋል። So street lighting is also very important in reducing road traffic accidents. So this is what I have. It's just to brainstorm. It's just to help you brainstorm. So thank you for your ears, for your time. አመሰግናለሁ።